Good evening, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Monday, June 6th, 2022. And behind me is the Brookline Country Club, where we will be next week as the U.S. Open comes about an hour, 15 minutes from my home. Uh, I was there way back. It was early 90s when they held the Ryder Cup and was able to meet a young Tiger, a young Sergio. It was an amazing event. I was there Monday for the practice round and Friday for the first day of competition. That was the year that Justin Leonard hit about that 65-footer and ran across the green as the U.S. clinched the Ryder Cup. I wasn't there. I was back on my couch, but it was an amazing event. So I just want a quick ECSI State of the Union to all the loyal listeners out there. And I will take a couple seconds, then I'll bring Scott on. Myself personally have been in these lanes. We went public January 1st, 2015 as the first sports investor. We used the word investing, have never used the G word in 7.5 years, and we won't. This was well before pass, but with the thoughts and ideas that the U.S. would eventually pass legalizing wagering in all the states. And we're currently, I think, 32, 33 states that are legal. Of course, Massachusetts isn't one of them. But to bring a new look to sports, like a stockbroker, now like cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin, anything that you can invest in. And our goal is to provide content to kind of re-educate. I always say we want to educate and entertain it a little. We leave the entertainment for Fox and ESPN and all those guys on gambling Twitter. And we don't win every day, we don't win every week, we don't win every month, but what we do is we provide as much information as possible in trying to rewire to help the novice, help the beginner, to the so-called expert or professional gamblers. If you're using our content just to get numbers all across the Vegas Strip, the online sources, then so well be it. But we're not here to say we're the end all be all. So I just wanted to clear the air here. There's a lot of scandicappers on social media, and they're just sitting there prying on the weak. A lot of PR movement by these big casinos and books trying to get you in on these 5, 10, 15, 20, 30-legged parlays, showing you that they win, and 99% of them are photoshopped. So I'm just here to say, listen, if you're interested in education every day, we do 2 to 3 shows live a day. We bring on some of the big names up from Vegas in our lanes, experts, paid people in their lanes. And so I'm not bringing in anyone flipping coins in mom's basement or someone that changes their names 2 weeks down. And if you still don't know us, just go to Google and search sports investors. We are currently the number 1 ranked sports investor in the whole wide world. Google first page. Proud of it. Took a lot of work, and we're still trying to hang up there. But myself and Scott have been in here and in these lanes, and the trolls and all the wannabes, and we're not them. So I hope everyone here is here for the right reason, not the wrong reason. And we put too much blood, sweat, and tears. I always say, I got a raise last week. I'm up to 11.5 cents an hour. That's basically what I make. So with that, let's bring them in from the Palm Tree State. Breathing a little easier as his lightning rally from 2-0 to come back and steal a win, the one and only Mr. Scott E. Webb. Afternoon, Scott.
Hey, don't be telling people that my team steals stuff, because it's okay to steal stuff if they win.
Down 2-0. They were part of a 3-legged parlay, and I got 2 parlays yesterday. One with the Mariners, who rallied from 5-2 in the 9th to tie it and win it. We had the Lightning puck line or money line, so they're down 2-0. They rally and win. We had the Astros run line, up 3-0, 3-2, up 5-2, 5-4. and then push 2 across in the ninth. And then pitcher gets tossed with 2 outs. Presley did. And then bases loaded. And here comes a big thorn in our side. He always has Salvi, who already had a homer and a double, and he gets out. So we were able to cash a plus 483. If the Lightning got an empty netter, we had like an 851. But I'm happy.
Me too. I mean, so I look at that series this way, right? So it's probably a little tough on a young team like the Rangers are. When you have a team beat and they're the champs, right? You got to beat them. But when you let them off the hook and you don't beat them, that gives life to Tampa. And Tampa played pretty well in the third period. They didn't play very, very well in the first period and a half. But so I would expect them to come out pretty hot and heavy the next time through. So let's just say they win that game. And then they go back to New York. They played good in New York. But what happens if Florida happens to, or Tampa happens to win that game? Holy shit, Jeff! You know how much pressure is going to be on that team? I mean, they got to win that game. If they don't win that game in New York, the pressure is going to be a pressure-packed game for them, and we'll see what they're made of.
Well, like I said in the Panthers series, they just ripped their heart out. In this series, that's all that the Rangers did was hold serve. So the Tampa wins game 3. If they win game 4, it's the best out of 3. Tampa's still going to have to win one on the road. Don't get me wrong. And the one guy I said that could keep the Lightning from their 3rd straight Stanley Cup appearance is Shesterkin. He can stand on his head, and you could put up 55 shots, and there's games that you're not going to score. So you were fortunate. You got the win. I expect you to come out, take care of business, get a little comfortable lead, hopefully, even the series up, and then figure out how you're going to win at MSG, either game 5 or 7.
Right, but I guess my thought is if you're the Rangers and you're going back home, and you then have to win that game because you don't want to be down 2-3 now, and then go back to Tampa, right? So that's a lot of pressure on that team.
Just as much pressure that's on you in game 4. You don't want to go back there down.
No, that would be the case. Game 4, correct. But it wouldn't be that way first. It would be Tampa, or it would be the Rangers having the pressure first. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting and fun. I don't know how either team stacks up against the guys in the West that go out there and just shoot 75,000 shots and score 1,600 goals a game, but we'll see.
Well, the Avs potentially could be waiting. I don't know. The line smelt to me overnight was 117. The Publix pushed it up to as high as 140 at FanDuel, 135 at DraftKings. On the Vegas Strip, it's at 127 at Circa, 125 at the Nugget. It smells to me. I wouldn't be shocked if the Oilers, save face, they win one, and then go back to Colorado in 2 days. And thanks for playing. But with that said, I want to transition to baseball for a second. The Dodgers kicked the Mets in the nuts the first 2 games. And these damn rat bastards, not only once, but twice, shout out to TJ. I don't know if he's here or listening or whatever. Rally the troops to 2-2 in that series. And tonight they got Carrasco, who's 6-1. I haven't played one of his games. And it's going up against Snell, who's looked better. So I just wanted to start by saying hats off to the Mets for winning those last 2. But the one game that sticks out like a sore thumb, and you're a numbers guy, just like me. And I know Syndergaard's coming off a bad start because we had him. Okay? So in come the Red Sox, who just swept Oakland. And now Angels lost 11 in a row. Trout's in an 0 for 26. Ohtani's struggling. A couple other guys struggling. I think it's Walsh is on the DL now. Overnight number, Syndergaard minus 135 and minus 135 to win the series. And now they are a half game behind the Red Sox for that 3rd and last wild card.
I'm going to say this. These pitchers that have bad starts, they pitch really well the next time out. So you can just expect them to be better. The problem is, and I had to preface this setup here because I wanted to look. I heard the guys on Major League Baseball radio. They were talking about the Angels, and they were talking about, well, they're the 10th ranked offense. I'm like, no, they're not. They might be the 10th ranked offense for the season, but what the hell does that mean? We're betting games now in June. I don't care what they did in April. I don't care what they did in the first couple of weeks of May. We need to know where they're at, what they're doing right now. And currently, right now, they are the 29th ranked offense in baseball. So how can you bet on the 29th ranked team in baseball? You can't. So if you're planning on playing the Angels, you better hope that Boston scores 0 runs. Because the reality is that the Angels aren't going to score very many. At some point they'll wake out of it and get going, but they don't have Rendon playing. They got injuries, so they had to call up Adele again. They've got one guy who's hitting on their entire offense, and I've got it pulled up right here. It is Jared Walsh. Jared Walsh is 1.5 WAR over the last 7 days. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that are minus WAR, and they got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them more than 2.5 minus WAR. And those 2.5: Tyler Wade, Brandon Marsh, Andrew Vasquez, and Mike Trout. If you don't have Ohtani and Trout playing at a high level in this offense, they're not going to win. They don't have a third guy to go with. I mean, Walsh is that guy, but look, this team is not doing what they did in April. In April, when they first got going, they were pretty good. Right now, they're struggling. That's why they lost 11. If you're going to lose right straight out to the damn Phillies, I mean, come on, man. Syndergaard's going to have to be really good today, and he don't have that really good stuff. So he doesn't throw 97, 98, 99 anymore. So in my mind, this is Red Sox or pass.
Okay. So the minus 135 overnight number means nothing to you.
Nope. And not in my mind, because I look at it like if you are trying to figure out these teams, Boston just now 500, right? So and I think what the Angels are the Angels over 500 still, or they fall under now? I think they fell under.
They're one game under.
Yeah, so so theoretically, a home favorite is going to be minus 120 to minus 125. So if you're looking at it's a pick'em game, so to speak, minus 120, minus 125 to the book, and then you're going to throw Syndergaard on there. You're not throwing him in there as much of an advantage over Waka. So I think that's probably a reasonably fair number. 120 is probably a reasonably fair number, but I can't bet it. I can't bet on the 29th ranked offense.
The thought process also is we've talked about for regression for Waka, number one.
Yeah.
Number two is at a 135 overnight, and even when it opened this morning at 120, there's only one way that number's going to go, and that's going to go down. And it's right now at South Point at 112, 110 at Westgate, 112 also at Circa and Caesars. So they got what they wanted. They got the Red Sox money. And I'm not telling anyone to step in front of the train. We talk about you can win 11 in a row, you can lose 11 in a row. The reason I started with this is I think you're going to get a strong bounce back, from Syndergaard, and you're going to get the attention of the Angels here, knowing now they're chasing the Sox. And I think the play, and I'm not going to even say the V word, but the play is Angels first 5, because I think you got a good shot. And I know your thought process, they're 29th ranked, so what are they going to have to score? 1? I think 2 will get them the guaranteed win. You'll know he's been pulled in 2 starts out of his last 5 in the second inning. His last start, I think it was at New York. He got pulled in the second inning. So, I mean, the Sox are raking. They're playing great ball. They're confident. They're back to 500, first time since April 22nd. And It's just, again, the series price and the actual overnight. I always talk about trusting the overnight number. Was alarming to me.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I get that. So what if I told you Syndergaard's last start, he pitched against the Yankees, 2 1/3 inning, he gave up 7 hits, 5 runs, game score 15, right? The time before that, he pitched against Texas, and he pitched 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, game score 74. That's his best start of the entire season. The time before that was against Texas. And here's that thing where I keep telling everybody, the second time they make the adjustment, they're the better pitcher, right? So he pitched 0.2 of an inning, so he got 2 outs. He gave up 4 hits and 6 runs. He got a game score 13. So of his last 3 starts, he's got a game score 15, game score 13, game score 74. So the 2 starts prior to that, so now we're going 4th and 5th start back. Tampa Bay, 5 innings in 1/3, 7 hits, 1 run, game score 52. And then he had against Boston, he pitched 7 innings, gave up 8 hits and 3 runs, game score 50. So his last 5 starts, game score 50, 52, 13, 15, 74. So think about that for a minute, because his first 3 starts, 62, 62, 63. Dominant, great, good starts. His game score for the season, Jeff's a 49. 49. So he had 3 great starts to start the season, and over his last 5 have been he had that 1 game score 74. Everything else has been either average at best or below average, to the point where you're getting rocked and knocked out of the first 2 innings. So I don't think he's got 40 innings pitched, 40 hits allowed, 27 strikeouts in 40 innings. That's not a strikeout pitcher. That's not a strikeout pitcher. A strikeout pitcher, if you got 40 innings pitched, you got to have 40 strikeouts. That's the way it works. And I think his big, he's a ground ball guy now. He's 50% ground ball pitcher. And I think that your Red Sox have the edge here. Now, I will tell you, he was off a game score 13 through a game score 74. He's off of a game score 15. He's going to throw a good number. He's going to throw a good game. So the question becomes is what do you do, right? Because if you look at the Angels bullpen, the Angels bullpen is ranked. That's the wrong one. That's the right one. Angels bullpen, number 30. 30 out of 30 teams. That's not very good either. So if you like the Angels, do not bet them full game today.
First 5. That's what I was talking about. First 5. Short board. We just broke down the Angels and the Sox. What are you saying?
I got 2 games. I like Texas today. I think Texas against Cleveland is a good odds for you. It's plus money. You got John Gray. John Gray's off a good game. And looking at his metrics for this game, if I can flip to the right screen and get them up here. Holy crap. Syndergaard, get off my screen. Boom. There we go. So if you flip it over here, and John Gray is so there's only 12 pitchers going today. And of those 12 pitchers, he ranks number 3 in number 3 in Sierra. It's 3.51. It's a good number. He's got 10.24 strikeout rate. Now, he does have a little bit of trouble with walks. He's always had a little trouble with walks, but he's pitching in Cleveland. So that's 2 things. One, Cleveland's about middle of the pack on offense, and they're not a dominant power team. So I like that. I like the idea that his batting average against is 224. His whip rate's 1.21, and he strikes guys out. So you got to get on base to beat John Gray. And then secondly, Cal Quantrill is pitching for Cleveland. And Cal Quantrill is not a strikeout pitcher, so there's going to be balls in play. He's got a 15% strikeout rate of only 5.61 per 9 innings, so that's pretty low. And his batting average against is 268. His BABIP number is 304. So when there's contact made, guys are getting on base. So I like the idea that Texas is going to put some offense on. Simeon's hit 3 or 4 home runs now in the last, I think, 6, 7, 8 games. So I like Texas in this spot. I looked at the bullpens. The Cleveland's got a little better bullpen right now going than Texas, but it's not so much so that I wouldn't want this to be a full game. So I left it at full game. I like Texas in this game at what is it, plus 105, 106, 110, whatever you can get from your book, but it's going to be like that. And then the other game that I liked, I like the Mets. I like the Mets winning those last 2 games the way they did, and I like the Mets going against Snell today. Snell has pitched better, but I will also say that because he has pitched better, he's now due for a dud kind of game. And I will tell you that the Mets in the past have hit Snell. They've seen him before. It's not the first time they've seen him, or at least in the guys on the offense there. And Carrasco he's just been one of those guys that he's gone up there. He is second in all the 12 pitchers today on ground balls. And again, San Diego is a team that has lacks of offense. So I guess they went out there and beat Milwaukee, but if Milwaukee's not going to hit, all you got to do is throw left-handed pitchers against Milwaukee, and they're not going to hit. So I like the idea that you're going to run into this scenario here with the Mets. You can get them at plus money, and what is it? I got a plus 104, I think, plus 105 or something like that. So I'm good with that. And the Padres bullpen's not that good right now either. So if the game goes the way the starters can kind of keep it together, so say you're not winning or it's tied or whatever, you got a really good chance to be beating up the other team's bullpen here on both of those plays where Texas can come in. Cleveland's bullpen is pretty good, but when you're talking about the Mets, I did have a lean here with Arizona today too, but I'm going to stay off of that game. Green can be green, and if he's green, that's light slap green, then they won't hit him much. And Bumgarner can get hit, but he's had great success against Cincinnati in the past. And the Reds are good, are playing good. Arizona is not playing as good as they were, but I do like Arizona as a lean in that game. But I don't want to take underdog like crazy, so I only took 2. I think Toronto beats Kansas City today, but I think Lynch pitches pretty well. Lynch is one of those guys that he's not very good. He's the lowest guy of all 12 pitchers today, but he's off a really bad game score. So I expect him to have a pretty decent game and pitch pretty well. Stripling, he's one of those guys that can go out there and he can get rocked and lit up too. But Kansas City's just doesn't have the offense really to do that. Robbie Ray and Javier I thought was an interesting game, but the line makes that so it's unattractive to me. Robbie Ray has had success against the Astros. I didn't really realize that. And at the same time, Christian Javier has been hit by Seattle. So it's kind of one of those games where you sit there and go, it makes sense to be betting on Houston because, we don't want to bet on Robbie Ray. But then when you start to look at the numbers, Robbie Ray has been a little bit more successful against Houston than I would have liked him to be. And then you got the Walker Syndergaard game. And in my mind, I would never be on Syndergaard, but if I was, I would be on him in the first 5 innings. And then I think you're getting some value with Boston on a full game.
The public trendy play today is the Houston Astros. They are 20-10 with the full game run line against the Seattle the last 30 games. Our friend at SoCal DGen posted that today. They're straight up like 26-4. The only downside is we've talked all season about fading Ray, and he's coming off, if my memory is correct, a bad game last game. So nice rally for Seattle yesterday. Houston coming back home, had a good weekend, and now find themselves, facing Robbie Ray and a game where, again, I think that's the public play of the day. Do you get in there first 5? Do you get in there full game run line? And if you do, I think Ray's due for a good game. It just smells too good to be true.
Yeah, I think that Christian Javier is an overlooked asset to what Houston's done for the season. But if you go back and you look at his game scores and the things that he's done this season, he's off a game score of 47, so that's not very good. But a game score 73, 66, 66, 48. So his game score for the season is a 53, so it's above average. And he's not he's 41 innings pitched, 52 strikeouts. There's a strikeout pitcher for you. He's only given up 29 hits in those 41 innings. So he's been really, really good. I think this is one of those spots, though, that Ray pitches pretty well, and Javier could pitch halfway decent here too. But both pitchers have not done very well against these teams. And when you look at Baseball Savant, and one of the things I look at in Baseball Savant is what's called xWOBA. So it's a predicted weighted on base average based on the lineup facing them and what the pitcher's done. And looking at that game, Christian Javier is a .379. Okay, so the average in Major League Baseball is about a .335, something like that. So that's like 44 points above average. So that's not very good. That means that there's a good likelihood he's going to get hit. But Robbie Ray's kind of the same way, where he's a 3.85. So that's right there in the same neighborhood. What you want is John Gray, for example. He's a .244 xWOBA against the Indians today, or Guardians today. I'm sorry. And what I try to do when prefacing these is if they don't have at least 30 plate appearances against the team that they're facing, I don't even look at the number because that's not enough. So like Cal Quantrill today, for example, he's only got 10 pitches against 10 at-bats against the Rangers hitters. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And you just kind of walk it through and see what happens. So Syndergaard, right? Syndergaard has 59 plate appearances against the Red Sox, .357 xWOBA. So that's a little bit high. It's not dramatically high, but a little bit high. But if you look at Michael Walker, 37 plate appearances against the Angels, 2.56. That's a hell of a big difference. That's that many less guys getting on base. And you can just go right down the line, right? So Carrasco, 3.18, and Blake Snell, 3.45, so a little bit over. So you kind of look at them that way in terms of, how they match up. I don't go back and look at batting averages and all that stuff anymore. I look at xWOBA. Because I think that's a good number that compares what they should do in terms of getting on base, and that's all you're trying to do. When I'm trying to find a winner, I want opportunities to score runs, so I want guys on base. So give me the pitcher that limits the guys that get on base against the guy that puts guys on base, and then the history of the two goes back and says, hey, this team should hit, and I like those guys.
And I talked about the hockey game tonight. It's one of those tough games. Evander Kane, 1-game suspension. I think it's more of a mental game. If Avs want to wrap this up, I think they will. If not, they go back home and try to wrap it up in 5. I just go back to the Blues, who were in the same spot, and they stole Game 5, and they were within a minute of taking it to overtime into Game 6. And I don't think the Avs want that, but again, an overnight number that only opened at 117 that has been steamed as high as 140. Thanks, but no thanks there. The ECSI VIPs have Avs Western Conference champs and have Avs Stanley Cup champs. So we're just waiting, hopefully, to cash that this week there. Closing thoughts.
We talked, I think it was Saturday, about call-ups and paying attention to injuries. And, there's things that happen in Major League Baseball that change the outlooks of teams. And, we've been talking about the Baltimore Orioles and some of the things that we were looking forward to with them because they have a guy named Grayson Rodriguez. And Grayson Rodriguez is just something else. I mean, he is the number 3 prospect in all of baseball, but that's because Adley Rutschman's already up and Bobby Witt's already up. So he's the highest ranked prospect not up in the big leagues. Okay, well, he just got hurt. He's got a lat strain, which is good that it's not on his arm or something like that. But I mean, he's got a lat strain, and they're talking about sitting him out the rest of the season. So that's a setback. And that's not to mean that next year he couldn't come out and he couldn't come, go to spring training and make the team. It just means that that's a lot of experience in even being called up and pitching a couple of major league games this season and then rolling that into next year. They need a guy like that. They need a dominant ace kind of pitcher. Because it's a scrappy team. It's kind of like the Marlins. They need scrappy offense, but this team's they need scrappy pitchers.
Yeah, that was our sleeper. It's funny. We took swings with Bauer. He's done now for 2 years. We had Grayson Rodriguez on the bench. He's done now for the year. We're waiting on Tatis. So our guys we had Rashman, by the way. So our big four, we got one guy up, one in waiting, and the other two, thanks for playing. So for me, it's just a new week. It's a new start. It's a short menu. We've discussed all the games today. The VIPs know where we're going. I think anyone that listened to the show understands where we're going tonight. We will see. You'll know early. Waiting, hoping for a little regression from Walker, hoping that someone, maybe Trout, bounces out of his slump with a 2-run homer to start the game. I don't know. I tell you right now, if the Sox were to come in and sweep these Angels, if something doesn't happen there, then they would be 3.5. Is it a 4-game series, Scott?
Yeah,
it is. All right. So let's just say they lose 3 out of 4, even, the consequences, someone's got to pay there. It's a team that came out guns blazing. They thought they had a 1-2 punch with Shohei and Syndergaard, and we'll hope for some help from some of these others. They thought they had the closer back there, but they just don't have any Bridges, and the team is in turmoil right now, especially after last night's Phillies come back from the death with, I guess, a grand slam in the 8th and a 3-run walk-off in the 9th, and they get swept. So will be interesting to see which Angels team shows up and how the crowd greets them for sure. But again, want to thank all the loyal listeners. Without you guys, there's no ECSI. Busy week ahead. Again, tomorrow at 11 a.m., the real Vegas Dave Sharapan will be greeting us. On Wednesday at 10, Julian Edlow from DraftKings talking Celtics. At 1 o'clock, our trip across the border with Andrew McGinnis. We'll be debuting our CFL talk and NHL pucks and props there. On Thursday at 2 o'clock, Sean Alvarez will be talking Belmont. He was on for the Preakness. We cashed the trifecta there. We hope to get a winner and a trifecta maybe from him at the Belmont this weekend. And on Friday, Dan Alexander at 2:30 p.m. talking Premier Lacrosse. We had an amazing opening weekend, cashed a lot of tickets there. So even if you're not a lacrosse fan, join in. They all cash the same, whether it's lacrosse, hockey, basketball, tiddlywinks, ping pong, whatever it is, they all cash the same. So with that said, if you are gambling, investing, I said the gambling word. Can you imagine that? Investing, wagering tonight, please do it responsibly. If you do have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Myself and Scotty care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest on the Twitter, and the one and only Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Have some fun, cash a few tickets, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m.